From the Wyln studios in Hazleton and all over northeastern Pennsylvania, this is Wyln News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on Wyln News. I'm Paula Dagnan. A woman was killed in a two-car crash this morning on East Broad Street in Hazleton, not far from the Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton. According to Hazleton City Police, 46-year-old Christine Bolduc of Glen Lyon was killed. Police say Bolduc's GMC Yukon was disabled in the roadway. She had the vehicle in neutral, the driver's door opened, and appeared to be attempting to get it off the roadway when its passenger rear was struck by the front of a white International mail truck. The impact sent the woman underneath her vehicle. She died from the injuries. The woman's 12-year-old daughter was laying in the back seat at the time of the impact. She sustained non-life-threatening injuries. The 12-year-old taken to Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton for treatment. The investigation is continuing. If anyone has information regarding the accident, you're asked to contact the Hazleton Police Department by calling 911 or 570-459-4940 and ask for Sergeant Joseph Babula or Detective Sergeant David Roddick. The Hazleton Police Department assisted on the scene this morning by the Hazleton Fire Department, APTS, and the Pennsylvania State Police. A man is dead after a shooting in a wooded area in Plymouth Township. It began around 1 this afternoon on the banks of the Susquehanna River in West Nanticoke. We now know from the Luzerne County District Attorney's Office is a man reportedly struggled with a Fish and Boat Commission officer, allegedly attempting to drown him. The officer shot the man. The suspect was killed. The identities of those involved, including the condition of the officer or a motive, have not yet been released. That investigation is ongoing. On Monday, a news conference was held at City Hall to discuss the Hazleton Police Department could attain full jurisdiction of Banks Township. The next step for Hazleton, get City Council on board. Wyln's Maria Sinti has more on that.
A press conference at Hazleton City Hall Monday morning revealed the Hazleton Police Department could attain full jurisdiction of Banks Township, an agreement that aims to increase public safety.
That's the primary role of government at the federal, state, and local level is public safety.
If the plan follows through, the Hazleton Police Department's coverage would include responses to 911 calls and criminal prosecution for crimes in Banks Township.
As the chief of police, I'm the person that has to try and, fit this all in and make sure that there's no services that are taken from the city of Hazleton, and make sure that we remain committed to the people and the residents here, and that we also provide the service that we promise to the township of Banks.
While the Hazleton police chief and several elected officials say the agreement would be beneficial for the city, several city council members have come out saying quite the opposite. Hazleton City Council President Jack Mundy says the amount of time city officers would spend covering Banks Township would take away police protection and services from Hazleton.
It's going to involve a lot of the time of our officers who need to be in Hazleton and need to be here for our residents, for the safety of our city.
The agreement states Banks Township would pay the city $28,000 each year for police protection. This could pay for more than half a first-year officer's salary, but Mundy says it's not enough given the city's financially distressed status.
If it was $280,000, I'd say then that's something that we could think about, but $28,000, I don't know. That doesn't cover salaries and benefits for any of our officers.
Several Hazleton residents say they are concerned the municipal agreement will cause panic throughout the city.
If you take our police force and put them over there, then I don't know what they're anticipating to occur in this town. But they can surely expect people to respond, especially if they know the police are going to be out there.
City council members and residents alike suggest Hazleton police do not extend their jurisdiction to Banks Township.
Just sending the message that we're going to send police over there is enough to give us a bad vibe here in this city, and I don't think that's going to help us at all.
Both the Banks Township supervisors and Hazleton City Council need to vote in favor of the agreement in order for it to move forward. If approved, Speziali says it could begin as early as March or April of next year. Reporting for WYLN News, I'm Maria Sinti.
Rush Township supervisors have taken one of the township's fire companies offline, meaning they cannot respond to emergency calls. Supervisors last week voted to remove Quakake from the Schuylkill County 911 emergency call list effective immediately. The board also voted to award all of the township's fire tax revenue and funding to the hometown fire company, no money going to Quakake Fire Company, the township's second volunteer company. For the last 2 months, the supervisors have been meeting with representatives from both fire companies to discuss merging the two into one. The fire companies are about 4 miles apart. Supervisors say it is just getting too hard to fund two companies in the township. State police at Frackville on the lookout for the man who made off with another man's vehicle. It happened last night in the area of Gordon and Dutchtown Roads in Butler Township, Schuylkill County. According to investigators, the man pulled over to offer help to a man laying on the side of the roadway. That's when the suspect then pulled a gun and knife and threatened the man into giving him a ride. When they got there, the suspect, a white male in his 20s wearing a neon green hoodie, made the man get out and drove off. Police are looking for that 2004 Forest Green Jeep Liberty. UGI warning its natural gas and electric service customers of a phone scam. Scammers are contacting customers stating that they owe money on their bills and non-payment would result in having the service discontinued. The scammer then attempts to get the customer's account number and instructs them to make an electronic payment. UGI urging customers not to provide any information if they receive this call. Customers can contact UGI at 1-800-276-2722 if they believe that they have been a victim of that phone scam. Coming up on WYLN News, there's a new sign in Freeland honoring a former mayor, plus giving snowplows a different kind of painting. But first, as we head out to break, let's take a look at the wind that we saw going through our area today. Those trees moving mightily. They even ended up extending that high wind advisory for early this morning. So hopefully things have died down a bit. Now we'll take a look at your 7-day forecast from the WYLN Weather Center. Remember, you can get all your weather information at WYLNTV.com. We'll be right back.
For more than 45 years, S.J. Kowalski has been installing and servicing high-efficiency heating and air conditioning systems. Customer satisfaction, safety, and quality have always been their #1 priority, and they have the track record to prove it. Act now for your S.J. Kowalski Lennox rebate up to $1,600 and 0% interest for up to 72 months. Lennox and S.J. Kowalski, heating and cooling the way the earth intended.
Your body was made to move, fluidly and with ease. If the need for joint replacement surgery has stopped you in your tracks, it's time for a plan that can put you back in motion faster. The area's most experienced surgeons, the region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
For the holidays, there's no better place to have your holiday party or family get-together than Basili's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria, 401 Claremont Avenue in Tamaqua. They have remodeled the entire restaurant with a new addition and cozy fireplace to add to the holiday spirit. Just call and book your party. You'll choose your dinner from a full menu, everything from pasta, chicken, veal, and seafood. The new bar will be open with all your favorite drinks. Basili's is open 7 days a week, serving lunch and dinner. Dine in or take out.
After 7 years, a promise has been fulfilled in Freeland. WYLN's Gary Perna explains.
It has been just over 7 years since Freeland Mayor Tim Martin passed away. The day before he passed away, Freeland Borough announced that the park at Center and South Streets would be named in his honor, but it would become his memory.
He came to the house and he had, told Tim, and I can tell, in Tim's final days, it was rough, but I could tell that really lifted him, and he was happy about it. Today, a new sign at Freeland Martin Square was erected. When they did the unveiling today, they had the members of the Redevelopment Authority, this is actually their property. They acquired this with the grant. Then they had the contributors to the sign. You had Dr. Delacroix from Delacroix Dental and his wife and his daughter Melissa, Attorney Karpovich from his law firm, Jim and Rose Laputka, and also the members of the community bank. They are huge with helping the Redevelopment Authority acquire businesses and help upkeep them so that we don't have deplorable buildings. And then, of course, me and my family were here, which I was fortunate enough that today was a day that both of my children could make it here at 12 o'clock. Martin said it was a promise that she had to keep. So 7 years, I didn't let that go. You made a promise, and if you are not going to get the sign, we'll get it. But I vowed that I would have a sign with Tim's name on it here. Tammy said today people still talk about Tim and the work he did. I get it all the time. I walk my dog, as everybody knows. I'm always out walking the dog. I always have people stopping me. They can remember when Freeland had the dancing in the streets for Memorial Day. Everybody was like, well, why can't we bring that back? Well, Tim was he was the hands behind that. You have to have people get involved, and that Tim was community involved. And Tim always tried to emphasize that with people. You're not going to have a productive community if the community doesn't get involved. So I'm hoping that this sign will remind people what Tim stood for, and maybe we can get our town back to the way it was. The sign is just a small reminder of the big impact that Tim had on the Freeland community. It's very heartwarming, as my son said, to have a memorial right in the center of the town that Tim loved. Anybody who knew Tim was Mr. Freeland. His world revolved around it. And I just said to my daughter, I came home from work and I went into the house and I was looking out my kitchen window, and from my kitchen window, I can see the sign. So to have it that close, and anybody who comes through these crossroads, they're going to see the sign. So that means everything to me and my family, and it just goes to show what a true testament Tim was to Freeland. In Freeland, for WYLN News, I'm Gary Perna.
Pennsylvania drivers no longer need registration stickers on their vehicles, but many of the vehicles driving around the Keystone State still have expired stickers on them. Now, some officials are encouraging you to remove them, especially
Boyer Insurance Agency, 78 Sugarloaf Avenue in Sugarloaf. Quality coverage, competitive rates, discounts, recreational vehicle.